Hello, guys, and welcome to episode 2 of What the Tech podcast. My name is Adam Lobo.
My name is Syed.
And yes, we are happy to announce that we are continuing on moving forward because we have some great tech news for today. Before we start, we just want to say thank you guys so much for the great words of encouragement. Of course, compared to our regular YouTube videos, this is super long. So some have really stayed on, some have really given your positive comments. We are still opening the floor or the video in terms of giving your best suggestions that you have. Meanwhile, Syed and I will be giving you all the tech news, and have any discussions, so you can feel free to join us at the comment section below if you have any things that you want to discuss with us moving forward.
Anything, so the floor is open, completely open.
Yeah.
Any suggestions?
So let's dive in straight into the tech news roundup. Last week we talked about specifically about CES.
Yeah, CES.
There were more interesting stuff, especially the weird stuff, which for some strange reason, Syed just couldn't compute.
It was too weird, I guess.
But it's fine. We have passed CES, so let's just move forward and talk about the top episodes of the week. We have 3. We're just going to make it 3 and just make it straightforward. So what do we have first, Syed?
Okay, so the biggest news right now, I wouldn't say biggest, but it's the most recent, I guess. Switch 2.
Okay.
Switch 2, just the video of Switch 2 just dropped like literally last night. I was out and about with friends and whatnot, and the video just literally dropped without a single warning, and that was interesting.
So yeah, I think based on the tech people that I follow, I saw people posting up on threads and stuff like Zone of Tech, which is Daniel Rota, which is a very nice person, met him in Snapdragon Summit. And I thought that it was still under the rumors. I didn't think that it was real stuff.
Yeah.
Until when I went on YouTube, I saw the official trailer. I liked the trailer. Did you watch the trailer?
Yeah, I did.
So the trailer starts off with like an ASMR thing of all the new features, which is kind of cool. And then the music comes in later. So can you tell all of us what is new in the Nintendo Switch 2 based on what you saw? Because I am not the kind of person who plays Nintendo Switch, so I think you are more familiar, so you can probably explain to me or anyone who's...
Okay, I think the biggest difference... I mean, okay, in terms of like how it looks generally, it still looks pretty much the same as the first gen. But this time around, it's a bit bigger. The screen is 8 inches, if I'm not wrong, 8 inches, and it didn't. Nintendo didn't specify whether it's OLED or LD, but I am going out on a limb here, and I think it's going to be a normal LCD screen, and with an OLED version coming later. But I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, do let me know in the comments.
It's quite interesting because it seems like a lot of handheld devices are now going towards 8-inch screen.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's the case? Is 7-inch not enough? Sorry, internal joke. For those of you with naughty minds like us, we laugh about that. But yeah.
Some say it's not about the size.
Yeah,
it's about how you use it.
In the performance. Okay.
But I mean, I think 8 inches is pretty much the sweet spot in terms of like... in terms of a big screen, but not too big, which is nice. Which is why I think even tabs, like it starts from like 9 inches, that kind of thing. Like I mean, the iPad Mini is nowhere near as big as like a normal tab. Yeah. So it reaches it hits that sweet spot. Yeah. I mean, it's bigger than a phone screen, but it's not too big for it to be awkward.
So this sweet spot, is it something based on people giving their feedback, or has the tech companies like Nintendo...
It's a mixture of both.
It is.
Yeah, it's a mixture of people's feedback and basically companies' prerogative, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I do believe that. Because, okay, personally, I feel that, yes, 7 to 9 inches, that is a really great sweet spot. For people, it's still good for work, but at the same time, for me it's perfect for like entertainment.
So the ROG Ally, which we both got a test. That was 7-inch or it was 8-inch? It was 7-inch, right? If
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
was
mistaken.
7 inches. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you played the 7-inch device, did you find that it was? Did you find that at that point in time you feel like, oh, I wish it was bigger? Because for me, I personally did not feel like I needed a bigger screen. I liked the fact that it was more portable. But when you played it, do you feel like you would welcome a bigger screen?
I wouldn't say I would welcome it, but I did at one point, especially when I was playing, I think it was GTA, I felt that, this would look nicer on a bigger screen.
Okay.
But at the same time, I felt that maybe too big would be a bit cumbersome to play, especially when you're playing handheld.
Yeah.
Because even now, even the normal Switch, I feel that I prefer playing it while sitting upright. Or sitting upright, or maybe slightly tilted like that.
Okay.
I did feel a lot of fatigue when I play it lying down. So I think it wouldn't. I mean, 8 inches should still be okay. But I think if you go beyond that, it'd be a bit too tiring, I think.
Yeah. But what's cool about the Nintendo Switch is the fact that it has the option for you to just plug in straight to your TV.
That's
so
great.
As a Nintendo Switch user, like you do have it, right? What are the ratio or the percentage of you being the kind of person who plugs in directly to your monitor or your TV, or do you play it more on a handheld perspective?
I definitely play a lot more on handheld, but when it comes to like party games like Overcooked or Mario Kart, you do feel like you should play it on a TV, and it feels a lot better on a TV.
I totally agree with that, because that's the only time I played Nintendo Switch, when one of my wife's closest friends' husband come over, and again, like I mentioned last week, I suck at playing games and I suck at Mario Kart. I wish I was better. So since it's out right now, you did mention that you're not sure what is their screen spec.
Yeah.
So what else has been announced besides the fact that it has a bigger screen?
Apart from that, they did show off the new Joy-Cons, which is not all too different from the previous Joy-Cons. I mean, in terms of shape and design, it's pretty much very similar. They made it slightly longer to accommodate the bigger screen and overall bigger console. But I think the biggest change of the Joy-Cons isn't that it's a rail system anymore. It's more of a connector system, whereby it connects using there's a special port. They didn't. Obviously they didn't explain the port and whatever. But from the video itself, you can see that it's more of a connector where you can just slot in and connect rather than you slide in and connect.
You do realize that the fella is like connected.
Yeah, I just realized.
For those of you who are watching, Said's give nice language, so yeah.
It's one of those episodes.
Yes, of course. It's good. It's real, right? So, in all, we had the teaser last night, and thankfully we recorded this on Friday night.
Yeah.
So, do you predict that they are going to slowly release the specs information, or we are still up in air on when exactly that's going to happen?
Okay, knowing Nintendo, they're going to be really tight-lipped about this. I mean, if you look through the news, all these leaks, they don't really take it all that well. The higher ups are pissed. That
so you did write an article about how like the higher ups were pissed about the 3D rendering, which you mentioned from Genki last week. Right?
Yeah, during CES.
So you wrote that. You wrote an article based on that. So can you explain a little more?
Okay,
on that?
so basically, a journalist there. I mean, it's a French journalist. I can't remember his name. I'm so sorry. But he basically reported that Nintendo lawyers got involved with Genki, even though Genki didn't sign any NDAs and whatnot, and it's completely legal for them to release that 3D mock-up. Nintendo was obviously still not happy because it's the thing hasn't released yet, and people already So while it's still in the legal loophole. So it's legal gray area. It's still legal, but at the same time, it's ethically, maybe morally not that good. But Genki is within every right, within their right to to release that 3D mockup. So yeah.
We are in year 2025. Do you think that Nintendo or companies are overreacting when leaks like this happen? Because eventually things like this is going to go out. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about is supposedly leaked new Galaxy device, which was very interesting, which we'll talk about that soon. So do you feel like Nintendo is overreacting? Because some may say that if it's out, it's out. And there's no such thing as bad publicity in a way. And it's just a leak of how it looks, the renders. So do you feel, if you are in Nintendo shoes, or in general, if you are coming from a consumer point of view, or even from a tech journalist point of view, do you feel like they're just overreacting, or you think that what they're doing is right?
Okay, for this one, I think I wouldn't say they're overreacting, but they are reacting to it strongly. I mean, it's not to the point where they're literally, pointing a gun at Genki, like, you take it down or else, because it's within their legal right. Although, okay, I think in terms of this, I don't think they're overreacting. But they are reacting to it strongly, and as they should, because it's their IP, and they're not at that point in time, they're not ready to release anything yet. And then to see other people already, spoiling it and whatnot, I would understand. I understand why they reacted the way they did.
Okay, for me, I think that they are overreacting because we are in a world of. Yeah, I mean, even for us as tech reviewers, the whole team here, we do sign NDAs and stuff. We do have that level of, we signed the NDA, we're not going to mention it. But if it's like leaks directly from them, I just feel like it is a little overreacting because, but then again, before this, a lot of people have never heard of Genki before this, probably. But a lot of Nintendo Switch 2 or Nintendo Switch owners, for this case, would be a bit more excited with that.
Definitely.
So I feel at this point in time, they are probably overreacting because...
But Nintendo has always been very... they always gatekeep whenever their property is involved, which is why if you look on YouTube, a lot of people are reluctant to post Nintendo content because Nintendo can just say you can just copyright strike. I mean, there's a lot of cases where small YouTube channels get copyright strike by Nintendo themselves, or one of their lawyers approach them, send them a DM, send them letters, and say, no, this is not it. I'm going to take down your footage. So
that's interesting. I never knew about that about Nintendo because Blackmagic, the cameras that we use, they are very tight-lipped about their releases. It is similar like what happened with Nintendo, whereby they just released the camera like tonight. It's like, hey, it's out.
Really?
Yeah, it's always been out. Like even the current Blackmagic Pixis camera.
Okay.
That was a thing where a lot of people who was using a Blackmagic camera wanted that to come, and every year everybody predicts it, but most of the time they're wrong. So I can kind of understand on being tight-lipped, but yeah, it just feels like it's overreacting. But final question before I wrap that particular thing. Are you planning to get the Nintendo Switch 2 when it's out? And if yes, why? If no, why?
Honestly, I'll see first. I do intend to get it at launch, but I will have to see first because I'm looking at the most recent one, which was the PS5. PS5 launch was a mess, a huge mess. I mean, I understand it was during the pandemic and it was there's like chip shortages and whatnot. But even then, even after they've recovered, which is circa mid 2022 or early 2023, I can't remember. It was still difficult to get a proper PS5 at the proper launch price because a lot of scalpers, whenever they come out, because they come out in batches. So whenever they come out, scalpers will be like, they'll come, with bots and everything, which was a huge pain in the butt to get. Even my brother, until now, he couldn't get his PS5. So now he's just using mine.
So since we're diving into PS5, now with a new PS5 Pro, Should anybody care or should anybody don't even care? And did that help the fact that it's harder or easier now to get a PS5? I feel it's easier, but I might
Yeah,
be
it is.
wrong.
It is so easy now. A lot. Things are totally different now. But I would okay if you care about graphic fidelity and whatnot, yes, you should get the PS5 Pro. But if you already have the PS5 and you don't really mind playing 4K at 30 FPS or even less, you don't really have to.
Okay.
Because personally, I don't feel a need for it because I felt that the PS5, the normal PS5 performs fantastic as it is.
Yeah.
So the PS5 Pro, even though it looks better, it's still just in a slight incremental,
Yeah, I mean, not only because I'm not a gamer, but
Yeah.
even when the PS5 Pro came out, I did understand that it's incremental updates, but
Yeah.
it didn't let me go, wow, like
Yeah,
I need to get
yeah.
it right now.
I think we're already at the point where it's hard for us to go wow because games graphics has been fantastic. It's been crazy nowadays.
It is also because of the fact that the limitation of the amount of games. Which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
really
that's true, that's
Tailor-made
true.
for PS5.
That's
now,
true.
Another very quick side note is the fact that you wrote about another article about how there's a rise of gaming on laptops or on
yeah.
PCs more than
Yeah.
consoles. So can you briefly talk about that then?
That is mainly down to games price. Because
About the price. So
Yeah.
you feel like it's because of the price of the games, that's why people play.
actually, it's a combination of both. Nowadays, people are getting more and more budget conscious. So gaming, because especially now, console games are getting ridiculously expensive. I mean, you're looking at upwards to $300 just for one game, which is crazy. I could go and feed my whole family for a dinner outing for $300.
I agree, though.
Even less.
Even recently, I think last week I mentioned about how I bought the PS5 game, which is the Sonic Racing one.
Oh, yeah.
Similar to Mario Kart because I don't have a Nintendo Switch. And just like that, I spent like 100 over ringgit. And I'm going to play it like probably once the whole entire year. So, yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so we wrapped up that on the Nintendo Switch. Of course, stay tuned on www.adamlobo.tv or on this particular podcast as soon as there are more information on the Nintendo Switch. If you guys are interested to learn more, make sure to check out the website, which
Stay tuned.
site is writing about it. Okay, let's switch gears from the Nintendo Switch 2 to another
leak.
and this is on smartphones. So I believe you have some news on that.
Yeah, we're moving from one league to another. Okay, so of course, the S25, Galaxy Unpack's coming next week.
Yep.
So the hottest smartphone news right now is obviously the S25. Samsung's not going to release just 3 S25s. There's going to be another one.
Okay.
Which is completely new and completely different and pretty much out from left field, which is the Galaxy S25 Slim. Not much information has come out for now. I mean, we've seen a lot of leaks of the mainline ones, the S25, S25 Plus, and S25 Ultra. But there isn't much in terms of the Slim. But recently... Full on renders of the phone has come out, and it looks nice. I mean, yeah, it looks like the S25 or S24, but it does look nice. The slim profile looks nice.
So I'm trying to understand how they are going to be launching this particular slim product, and because is it going to be like how Apple does the one more thing at the end? Because Samsung did that for the Galaxy Ring last year, right? Towards the end, they're going to do that. Do you predict that it's going to be the same, whereby after they announce everything and then it's going to be like one more thing, similar like what Apple does, and then here's the Slim?
I think it's going to be something similar. I mean, even the leak did mention that they're just going to announce it during Unpack, but they're not going to release it together with the 3 mainline devices. It's more going to be May release.
Okay, so for TLDR, for people who did not check out the whole article and the leaks and all, people just wants to know what exactly is the specs or where does the Slim stand between all of the S25 series. So what is your point on that, on a conclusion of the leaks specifically?
Okay. I think the main takeaway from this device is the thinness of it. So basically, it's about 6.4 millimeters, I think, which is literally maybe like half of the top of my finger.
Your fingers are big, bro.
Yeah. Okay, maybe like let's look at this coaster. I think it's about this is about the same.
Oh, nice.
I think.
Okay.
So maybe it's gonna be slightly thicker, but this is without the camera bump. With the camera bump, it's about 8.3, I think, maybe around that.
Okay, then let's talk about from a consumer point of view, right? Besides it being thin, where is it going to be placed? Is it in terms of based on the leaks? Where is the screen size going to be placed at?
It's going to be in between the S24 Plus and S25 Plus and S25 Ultra, which is, according to the leaks, it comes at 6.8 inches.
Oh.
And in terms of like the internals, they didn't mention much, but they did say that it's definitely going to come with Snapdragon 8 Elite. But again, it's a leak, so we have to take a lot of this with a huge pinch of salt.
Yeah.
So we don't know what the specs are. We don't know. So the leaks, the whatever info that the leak provided, that's what we're going to go by, because we have no idea what it's going to be.
But but I'm also trying to understand why is Samsung planning to release this particular Slim? I mean, is there a demand coming from people, or they find that is a gap within the smartphone market where no one has really conquered this time? Who is asking for this slim version of the Samsung S25 if it's really true?
Okay, in my opinion, I feel like they're releasing it just because they can. They want to showcase. Okay, like you mentioned the other day. We were talking about this the other day. You mentioned the Z Fold, was it? The Z Fold, the special edition in Korea, which is way thinner than the mainline Z Fold 6.
And the cover screen is also
the cover
a bit
screen
wider.
is different. Cover screen is wider, and then the camera placement is also slightly different, right? So yeah, as of right now, I think because in terms of performance and whatnot, there isn't much gap to improve now.
Yeah,
everything's already up here. So it's different from like a few years ago where each new release you get to see this kind of upgrade, and then the next release this kind of upgrade. Now it's more like this. Everyone's squeezing as much performance as they can, because I feel that we've already plateaued in terms of cameras, in terms of gaming performance, in terms of battery life. Everyone has similar if not the same battery lives. Especially some phones might be maybe 1 or 2 hours more, but no one can stretch as on a single charge. No one can stretch maybe like 2-3 days, especially on a normal use. So that kind of thing. It's so what Samsung is doing right now, I feel like it's a statement piece. It's like, okay, we can offer you the same performance as the S25 Ultra, but it's slimmer. That kind of thing, you know?
I think once, if it's really out, we need to also remember a lot of other things like thermal performance and stuff like that. But I'm eager to see from a marketing standpoint whether or not, if that is really true, whether or not I can sell it. Mm-hmm. Because remember how the iPhone had a mini? I like the mini.
Same, I love the mini.
But for some strange reason, they weren't doing very well, which sucks because I really, really like the mini. And I hope one day it'll come back soon. But I don't think that the Slim might be an answer to that. Mm-hmm. You are probably right, because Samsung might be just releasing the Slim, if that is the case, just to tell people that, look, we are capable of doing this. And we have to give huge credit to Samsung, because I'm always mind-boggled and mind-blown by the fact that Samsung is always the first one to release early of the year. Yeah. And if you look at people like MKBHD and Mr. Who's the Boss, they still rate the S24 Ultra the highest. Yeah. And to think that they had all the time in the world, I mean, other smartphones had all the time in the world, but they still couldn't really tapao the S24 Ultra. So I mean, because I'm on my embargo, because I did have hands-on with the devices, so I can't mention in this podcast. It's going to be released next week. But what I can say is that they've always outperformed a lot of smartphones, which, like, even though they're the first ones, it always comes down, like, like Super SAF, MKBHD does this, like this smartphone awards. In case you wonder, I don't think we'll ever do it. But yeah, maybe we might have a podcast session on that, but not a full-blown video.
Let's hope
But
so.
why do you think is that? I mean, I really want to understand, why is every other smartphone within the Android space have fully overcome what the S series has done with Samsung, for this case, the S24 Ultra especially?
Okay, personally, I think Samsung. Okay, if you look at phones that came out last year, a lot of phones actually, especially in terms of like camera performance and whatnot. I mean, I've heard personally people say that the Vivo, especially the Vivo X200 Pro, they have fantastic cameras to the point where people are actually using it for their photography business, which is it's just crazy to me. I mean, you have DSLRs, you have other big cameras, but you're using the phone just for work and whatnot. But having said that, a lot of these other brands, they lag behind in terms of software.
I agree.
Software and whatnot. Okay, sure. Okay, the One UI is not flashy. It's not flashy era, but and some people say that they're like really boring. But at the same time, they're so stable.
Yeah.
The stability, sure, it's not flashy. I mean, it's not like, oh, you can like all these gestures and whatnot. Sure, they have gestures, but do you actually use gestures every single time?
Agreed.
What's the point of, you have all these cool features, but then you only get like updates every one update every like 2-3 months. Yeah. Or some even don't give updates. Even you spend thousands on a phone, you don't get software updates. You only get like maybe once every 3 months, once every 5 months. And then they say, we have support for like 2-3 years. But Samsung consistently gives you support every month.
Yeah.
You get updates every single month.
I agree.
And now they say they're going to update, they have support for 7 years. Sure, okay, maybe the phone's not going to last 7 years, but damn, that's a good package.
And speaking of a good package, what's interesting is that when Samsung announced the 7 years software update, it was even before Google did on their Pixel. So yeah, I went like, huh? So you're telling me that the Samsung device supports Android more than Google Pixel. So that was quite interesting. But eventually when the Google Pixel 9 came out, they said that, it's the same. Kind of makes sense. If they're going to go like 8 years means then somebody in Google must be slapped in the face because it doesn't make sense. Yeah, so I really agree with you, especially from the AI standpoint. Galaxy AI was hands down the best AI.
Yes.
I think the closest to come to that has been the Vivo, the Vivo's AI and even Oppo's AI. But yeah, the way Samsung nailed it is perfectly great. It's something where a lot of people use it. And since I can't talk about the S25 series, but we can expect to have more because that's what they've been doing. And what's interesting about Galaxy AI is that when they released this bunch of Galaxy AI, they had maybe probably 15 or 10, 15 Galaxy AI. And as the year progresses, they introduce new ones. Yeah. So we did a bunch of short form videos. Arpit knows that very well. We have a total of 30 different videos because there are 30 Galaxy AI features just last year. And within 1 year. And these features are not something that hit or miss. Right? It's features that really works so well. So like I said, we can definitely expect better AI features that will be coming on the S25 series. But all in all, I guess software is the main thing. And also a lot of people, like a lot of tech reviewers within our space, also mentioned that the battery on the S24 Ultra was one of the best batteries that they ever have. Also interesting because the phone was released earlier last year.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
it's funny because you know how battery degrades over time and you push in software patches, it may have issues, new apps and stuff like that. So yeah, that was quite interesting. So that will wrap up our Galaxy S25 Slim news. If you want to see the exact renders, head on to our website, www.adamlobo.tv.
You can see the full phone there.
Yeah, it's like the full phone is there. And based on our previous leaks that we released on the S25 series, you can also compare to see whether or not were we spot on with the leaks, or you can see it after the hands-on video comes and release.
I guess we'll find out after Unpack next week.
Exactly. And of course, once our hands-on video is out. Okay, so the third news of the week. Tell us about that, because we have a tech news which site have covered, which had very interesting news, which I had really no prediction it could ever happen specifically in Malaysia. Tech news is always global. We will try to cover more local news as well, but because our audience is global, but yeah, again, you can give us your comment in the comment section below. But yes, tell us about this last interesting or the third news of the day.
Okay. Recently, the US actually introduced restrictions on AI chip exports, which include countries like Malaysia. And basically, they want to remain pretty much the top dog in terms of AI. So the US. So they introduced these restrictions whereby only certain countries get unlimited access, not unlimited access, but they get almost full access to as many AI chips as they want. And obviously Malaysia is not one of them. One of them. They basically categorized it in three tiers. So tier one is all the countries that are super friendly with them, like the UK, Australia, Canada, Europe, and a few other countries. Tier two is for those that the rest, basically. Malaysia, Singapore, basically a lot of the Southeast Asian countries and other countries. Japan is tier one. In fact, if I'm not wrong, South Korea is also tier one. If I'm wrong, do let me know in the comments. But yeah, so basically Malaysia, and the restrictions are pretty. It's not great.
So there's tier one, which is the
one,
ones who are friendly to the US.
Yeah.
Or best friends is like
best buds.
Pergi makan.
Yeah,
and stuff
makan
like
mama
that.
at 3 o'clock in the morning.
And the second tier would be the rest of them. Is there like a third tier, or is
Yeah,
just like
there's a third.
So what is the third tier then? People
tier,
who's like anak derhaka.
Third tier are your usual suspects lah. Russia, China, there's a few other countries, but all these countries are, the ones that US always say, they want to take over a country, those kind of things. And which is funny because China makes their own AI chips. So US say they want to preserve their dominance in AI chips, but you have to remember everything comes from China.
Yep.
A lot of components come from China, and China has Huawei who does AI chips.
Yep.
Does their own AI chips. So there is a chance because tier two has a lot more countries than tier one. So what's stopping them from going to China and say like, hey, you make AI chips too, right? We're going to take this much from US, okay? Oh, by the way, US only gives like 1,700 AI chips per country, which is that's mean.
Yeah.
Really mean. So, okay, thank you very much. We'll take that 1,700. Okay, China, I need three times more. Can you do it? Yes, sir, we can do it in 3 months. So yeah, that's that kind of thing. So what's stopping other countries going to China and be like, hey, I want AI chips. China will be like, yes, give me the money, give me the business.
Yeah, because it's a very, very weird sanction, right? Because if you're going to separate it on tiers, like what's going to stop the tier one fellas to talk to the tier two guys?
Exactly.
And asking of that. But it's quite interesting that because when I saw the article, the initial article, I didn't know about this tier system. Mm-hmm. But it's quite interesting that among all the countries that Malaysia is in the tier two, because of the fact that they still want to limit it over there? Would you say that because, maybe the ties between US and Malaysia is not as strong as the other first-tier countries?
Definitely. I mean, we've been quite vocal, especially during the Israel-Palestine situation. Malaysia has been quite vocal in opposing US, and US wasn't too happy about that. So I mean, props to us, props to Malaysia for standing up against things like this. Honestly speaking, I don't really have a problem. I mean, if we can find a solution to this, I don't really have. For me personally, I don't feel too threatened by this because, again, segregation has never been a good thing.
Yeah.
When you segregate people, or in this case, you segregate countries, people will find other solutions.
Yeah.
You introduce a problem, people will find solutions to that problem, whether it involves you or not.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it might seem dire now, considering how little AI chips we get, but it just opens doors for other opportunities to come in.
It also goes to wonder. I mean, I'm not into politics as much, but like this kind of sanctions, you might question whether or not is the Biden's administration or is it a newer one from Donald Trump. We have no idea.
It actually came from Biden.
Oh, it did.
It's one of the last final Biden.
Final last kopek.
Last kopek before he goes.
What a stupid kopek.
Yeah,
right?
But whether or not the Trump administration will do anything about it, it remains to be seen. Knowing his previous campaign, maybe not.
Yeah.
But I don't know. People can change, I guess.
You did mention about how NVIDIA is not happy about that.
Oh yeah, NVIDIA is really not happy about it.
Yeah, you wrote that in the latest article that you wrote about what areas. I mean, obviously nobody is going to be happy about it, but why did NVIDIA specifically raise their voice and say that, look, I can't take this?
They basically said that this could potentially limit growth in terms of the AI space. Because if you provide unlimited access to just a certain number of countries, you exactly like NVIDIA said, you limit the potential of AI growth from other countries. I mean, you never know. Maybe Malaysia could be a forefront in Asia in AI technology. Maybe there's always a chance. Maybe not us. Maybe Singapore. Maybe Thailand. You never know. So I mean, of course, you expect from the Western countries, or you expect from something like Japan, South Korea, because of all their existing track record. But the thing is, the tech space is not a closed space. I mean, actually, no. In terms of nothing is closed. Honestly, I mean, there's always potential of someone to break out and to be, surprise number one. So yeah, I agree with NVIDIA that it might suppress AI advancements.
But if it's going to be like a situation where you said like, if I don't have enough chips, I'm going to go and order from China and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Would that still affect NVIDIA or it's the same thing?
No, I don't think it would affect NVIDIA because considering, I mean, it would affect their business, but I don't think it would affect their technologies and whatnot. Because
I guess probably the reason why NVIDIA is making so much noise about this is because probably somebody asked them to comment and they said they're not happy. Eventually, that's why they're on the news. Because I personally feel like, it will limit the amount of chips being sold. I mean, the stuff that NVIDIA does, but I don't think it will really affect the business like what you said. But I guess it's good that NVIDIA is saying that they're not happy as opposed to saying like, it's fine, we'll sell anyway, right? I think then the other countries will be like, okay, then I won't buy your stuff, right? So, okay, that's kind of cool. So like I said, it's the first time that we kind of talked about a bit more local news. If you guys would like to find out more on the local stuff, then let us know in the comment section below and feel free to put your feedback as well. So that is the wrap up for the tech news. We're going to spend the next few segments very quickly to talk about next week. So next week is the Samsung Galaxy Unpacked. I am going on Monday, going to be there for a week. Besides Unpacked, definitely I'm going to be getting hands-on with the phone, and I'm going to be hopefully getting some very interesting shots when I am in the US. So exciting news for us as Adam Lobo TV within the team. So that is what is exciting next week. Before I talk about the smartphone or the videos or releases, we want to also take this opportunity to thank you all once again on the positive feedback. The good news is that our podcast, the audio version, is available in every podcast that you can ever imagine. Never that I would thought that, I could hear Syed and myself or anybody in the Adam Lobo TV team to be on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, although I hate Spotify. If you guys are listening on an audio level, thank you so much for tuning in as well. Speaking of videos, since we usually do this on a Friday tonight, which means by when this one comes out tomorrow night, the release of the Vivo X200 Pro versus the Oppo Find X8 Pro comparison will be out.
Ooh, I'll be looking forward to that.
Yes. I was looking forward to even shoot because I really wanted to know what are the results. And I know this sounds clickbaity, but guys, you will be quite surprised by the results because there are certain elements that Vivo shouts about and certain elements that Oppo shouts about, which the results were terbalik. It was opposite from each other.
Really?
So you go but I thought that was the main feature they were shouting about, but they were not as good. And Oppo was shouting about another feature, but it wasn't as good. So it sounds clickbaity, but trust me, this is something which you all need to watch. So by the time this video is out, it's already been out exactly a day. So make sure to check that out. I also did a reel together with the team, of course. Apit worked on that, which is a vision board. So, if you watch things like The Secret, or if you read The Secret, or you read about positive thinking, a lot of people talk about visualizing your goal. So what's interesting is that, spoiler alert, if you watch that Reels video, not only I go through apps, Apple's apps, which is the freeform app, but what's interesting is that something from the vision board actually might come true.
Oh.
So, I was having this discussion with Apit behind the scenes. I'm quite mind-blowing. So, so we did a video based on how to use Apple's freeform app, which is free, and for you to create a vision board. And trust me, I've been a huge fan of really imagining things, and freeform is great because it was first really introduced properly by Danny One when he did a iPad Pro video, this exact iPad Pro video. And so we did a Reels based on that. So if you're watching that video, make sure to save that video because we go through a step-by-step way on how you can create a vision board.
That's cool.
We also are planning to release the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL full in-depth review tomorrow if you guys are watching it today on Saturday. Again, like I said, last week, I felt like that phone is still a very powerful Android phone. Probably not so much on a hardware perspective because it comes down to why the S24 Ultra was still the phone that people liked because from a software perspective, it's really good. Upcoming videos coming up next week. The next podcast, I won't be here because I'll be in the US, so I'll be joined by one of our teammates, Lehut, which is one of our two amazing video editors and video producers that we have in the channel. So he'll be talking together with Syed.
Yeah, looking forward to that also.
We have our S25 series hands-on video. I've got the opportunity to get my hands on all of the devices. So we're going to do a hands-on video and first impression. So stay tuned for that on the exact day and time of the launch. I also managed to get my hands and also review in depth on the Oppo Reno 13 Pro. Not going to say anything much because I think you guys should watch the video. And hopefully we can also wrap up our review on our very in-depth review of using the Mac Mini as a gaming device, right?
That would be nice.
People talk about video editing and stuff, so we wanted to really dive in from a gaming perspective. Okay, so I believe that wraps up our episode 2. With this, we'd like to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. As usual, like we mentioned last week, it is only our episode number 2.
Yeah.
And if you have any things or any suggestions that you would like for us to do moving forward, more type of news that you feel you want to cover about, or if you find something within the week that you find that, hey, I probably want Adam and Syed or the whole team to talk about a specific topic, you can also let us know in the comment section below, and we can include those things as well. If you want to talk about our videos a bit more in depth, you can also talk about that. But remember, it's all about you. We did this tech podcast for you to either watch me and Syed in action, or you can also listen while you're doing your housework or while you're driving, just as a podcast as well. With that, we'd like to say thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Adam Lobo.
My name is Syed.
And we will see you guys next week.
Peace.